Hello and welcome to the Fiona Small Show. Guess what? I've got an amazing guest here with me, Clarion. Say
Yes.
hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Clarion. Thank you so much for joining me. It's an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Tell everybody who you are and a bit about yourself.
So I am Clarion Brown. First, Fiona, I am so thankful for being here. I'm super excited. It's really, truly been a long time coming. So thank you for having me on the show. My name is Clarion Brown. I am the host and founder of Dear Single Momma Podcast that was started last year. And I'm temporarily a single mom. That's it, point blank, period. I'm just like you, no different. I just decided to continue to move forward. And that's just a little bit about me. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, an original Georgia peach, but without the peach. I didn't get that part, but it's okay. God still blessed me in other areas. So that's just a little bit about me.
Amazing. So I love the way you said, I'm a temporarily a single mom. That is so powerful. And you know what? We have to qualify our language. It's so easy for us to add these labels and these titles to ourselves. And I think it's important that you recognize, actually, this isn't the final destination. This is a temporary situation.
Yes,
so thank you for that.
No problem.
So, describe to us a little bit about, because one of the things about this show is we really like to challenge perceptions. We like to share the kind of single mother experience, but from a very positive and empowering standpoint. So we bring on women like yourself who are doing motherhood, but not through a victim mentality, but more through a victorious mentality.
Absolutely.
Share us about some of how you've managed to kind of navigate your way and anything that you would share with others who may not quite have the confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that that's a really good question. Something that you said was not being a victim, but being a victor. And I can remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, who's now 7 years old.
Yeah.
I was really discouraged at first. To be very honest, I was like, this is not how my life was supposed to be. And God said, well, no, this is how your life is going to be. This is how I have it planned out for you. And so it was then in that moment where I said, you know what? I refuse, and I'm going to continue to refuse to be another statistic or to just be just a single mom and to be on welfare for the rest of my life. That's not going to be me. And so it was then that I made up in my mind, I'm still going to pursue my dreams. I'm still going to finish school, and I'm still going to get those things done. And I can remember I was pregnant with her, with my child, and I was still going to school every day, walking to and from the train station, walking to and from classes, because I refused in that moment to give up on anything. And so it's really a mindset. You have to make up in your mind that I'm not going to quit no matter what happens. It's just that now I have this child and these children along with me, and we're going to pursue these things together.
Absolutely. We come as a package. And do you know that they become your fuel? They become that kind of the determination that you have, the resilience, the kind of, actually, even if I wanted to quit, I have no other option but to keep going.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's okay. I know that, we're living in such a digital time where if we follow social media, if we look at these celebrities, if we follow what the kind of status quo of quote unquote best life, relationships, couple goals, all of that stuff, we can easily start to feel unaccomplished. Oh my gosh, when's my time? What's happened to me? But the sheer fact that that actually for the period of time that this is your situation, you're going to roll with it in a way that you're not going to allow for anything to make you feel insecure. But
absolutely,
this is real women talk here. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I know there's times when even myself, I find myself doing it, and I think, gosh, some people can really look like they've got it all together, and you suddenly start to question your own self and think, gosh, well, what about me, or when's my time? How do we as women understand that the patience that we need to exercise,
Mm.
knowing our seasons. And this is, I always say to people that seasons change, just like our motherhood season, as our children grow and they transition into their needs become different and we evolve as mothers. Tell me a little bit about in our season where we're at now, let's call it the waiting season.
Yeah.
How do we wait well?
How do we wait well? Fiona, the thing is that is something that I'm still navigating through, to be very transparent. But some things that I have done is that I focus not so much on the man or him coming, but focus on purpose.
Wow.
And it was then when I really decided in my mind and made up in my mind, I'm going to fully and solely focus so much on purpose. And this has been my honest, sincere prayer, that when he does come, that I would be upset, because it's like, well, I don't want him right now. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I'm so focused. And so, but I think it's in that moment to really, really focus on the purpose God has for you. Because even before a man comes or your husband comes, then what's going to happen is you still have a purpose to fulfill.
Absolutely. Regardless. You don't want somebody sometimes to enter in, especially when you're in that building stage, because the thing with us as mothers and women who are head of our households, because that's what we are right now, because, it's not a two-parent household. It is mother with children. So we kind of dictate what's going on, and we have a structure and a routine. And there's times when, and I love what you're saying, is knowing when that time is for the relationships to kind of come in to your life, because you're on a mission, as you said. And if the timing is not right, sometimes you can end up resenting that individual because you're thinking, actually, you're slowing me down.
There it is.
Slowing me down and making me, you're distracting me. And then something sometimes has to compromise. And yes, we know life is made up of compromise, especially with our children. We have to compromise at times.
Absolutely. Or that person will even become your God, where you are idolizing them instead of God.
Absolutely. And also what we want to kind of do in this kind of, I call it waiting season, but you said purpose. Purpose is something that even now, as we go through our life, we really, for me now, I have really come into myself in when it comes to purpose and doing all the things that I know that God has ordained for me to do and blessed me with these talents and abilities and skills. I just want to use them. I want to be, when I meet my maker, and say, you know what, I used what you gave me. I used what you gave me. And I hope he says, well done, thy good and faithful servant.
That's it. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. I don't want to hear anything else but that.
Exactly. And we want to know that we ran this race well. We ran it with purpose. We ran it with patience. And patience is not always an easy word, not even just in relationships. And I'm guilty of that. But also in business, in work, and just with certain things, we have to exercise patience. I think if anything motherhood has taught me, is patience. we learn patience. So you're also a mumpreneur, and you've got your business, and you've got your children who are 2 years old and 7 years old. So you've still got two little ones. Tell us and describe to me how you manage kind of motherhood and business. How is it working for you?
So you know what? I am that mother that believes in technology. So if I have something to do, I will give my kids, and it's not negating away from them. I'm not saying that at all. I will give my kids their tablets and say, hey, mommy has something to do. Sit down for an hour or two, watch a movie, do something, because mommy has X, Y, and Z to do. But I'm also a night person. So a lot of my things and a lot of my thinking gets done at night when they're asleep. So whether that's staying up in the wee hours of the morning to structure out and to plan things out, then that's what I do. And that's what I'm willing to do. Now, I don't believe in this no sleep gang. I don't believe
No,
that. I think that that's unhealthy to a certain
absolutely.
extent, but I do realize that it is going to take some sacrifice and maybe just a little less sleep. And so if it's just a little less sleep, I'm okay with that for a time period. But
Yes,
I also know when to listen to my body and say, hey,
good.
no sleep. Go.
Absolutely.
It's okay. You can go to sleep tonight.
You know what? I really love that you've said that because,
Yeah.
you can follow this kind of entrepreneur trend and it's like, yeah, go hard, go this, get
Yeah.
up at this hour. And the reality of it is you're a mother first. Yeah.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
running your business. And you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned about technology because
Yeah.
this word mum guilt that can creep in
Mm.
because you will give them extra time on the devices or
Yeah.
I call it my digital babysitter.
Yeah. A
Es-
good one.
yeah, especially during lockdown
Yeah.
and in the earlier part of lockdown when I was homeschooling, I was running my business, I had lots of
Mhm.
Zoom calls, there was different meetings, lots happening. I
Yeah.
needed my child to not my older one because she was doing her own online learning, but
Yeah.
my younger one, he needed to be occupied. And
Right.
the safest thing for me to give him was the tablet.
The tablet.
I'm guilty of that, to keep him quiet. And
Right.
that's okay too.
It is.
I want us to let's explore mum guilt a little bit. Because I
Mhm.
think in talking about mum guilt, and as you know, I've co-authored a book with Dr. Solomon
Yes.
Tension
Yes.
on effective ways on how to improve the single parent experience. And we do explore mum guilt. And
Mm.
I often say to women that mum guilt will never go away. There will be things that we forget at times, like
Yeah.
it's plain clothes day and you turn up in uniform, or the child's birthday party that you didn't bring a card or a present
Yeah.
and all the other mums bought the presents and you look like you've just rocked up. Sorry,
Yeah.
the little things that in our minds, if we're not careful, they
Right.
begin to make us become super paranoid about stuff that actually you've got to give yourself a break from and not,
Yes.
overload yourself with all of this added pressure. Because I also believe that we as women that are juggling and wearing many
Mm.
hats, there's times when I don't even want to open the laptop, I'll be honest with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't, but you find the strength to actually say, right, we've got to kind of
Yeah.
get through
Yeah.
this. How have you been able to, juggle that bit as well when you're doing the whole work and then having to say, sorry, but I've just got to deal with the children for a minute. How's that been for you?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. It hasn't been an easy journey. But I think that the thing that I've learned to do is to give myself grace.
Good.
Even when dealing with mom guilt. There have been times where I have forgotten bottles,
Yeah.
sippy cups, wipes, diapers. And
Yeah.
I'm to a point where you say, you know what? It's okay. I
Okay.
can't sit up here and beat myself up about something so simple, something so materialistic. It happens, and it just doesn't happen with single moms. It happened with moms in
All over.
general. And
Exactly.
so I can't. So stuff
Exactly.
that's beyond and out of my control, I've just learned to just give myself grace. Okay, you know
Good.
what? I forgot that. I'll
Yeah.
remember next time. But what can I do to remember next time? Maybe set a reminder, do something like that. But I easily brush it off and give myself grace because I have to, because at the end of the day, I'm not a superhuman. I'm
No.
imperfect just like anybody else, and I make mistakes like anybody else. So why do I think that I'm higher or above anybody?
It's so true. I love that. Do you know, I'm going to share a quick story with you. I
Yeah.
remember when my daughter was little and I went to like one of the mummy like groups, the stay and play
Mhm.
ones.
Yeah.
And I remember forgetting her baby wipes and
Mhm.
I needed to change her nappies. And I was like, I had to ask like one of the other mums. I was like,
Yeah.
excuse me. I just said, I felt really embarrassed, but I left the wipes. Do you have any spare wipes? And it was so funny because they were like, all the other women were looking at me and the way everybody just kind of stretched out all the hand of
Yeah.
wipes. I didn't have enough hands to receive. But
Right.
they were like, we all do it. But I was first time mom and first time mum,
Yeah.
you feel that actually, how dare I forget the wipes,
Yeah.
as simple as it is. But I love when you said, I give myself grace.
Yeah.
We all need that element of grace.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you have any mum hacks like that you could share?
Let me see. You know, I can't think of any, to be honest, because one thing that I use for everything, I use my phone, and I have an iPhone. So I use my Apple Calendar to remind me of everything. On the iPhone, they have the reminder app. I put my reminders in everything, but I don't really think that I have any mom hacks that I can think about.
Well, that's a hack in itself.
Yeah.
Set yourself reminders
Yes.
that is a good hack, because if I'll tell you what mine is, and I wouldn't say it's a hack, it's just something I do, but it's I'm a list lady. I like to write it down, and there's something powerful in crossing my list off, because my list, it really does sometimes feel like actually I've got a lot to do, I've got a lot to remember, and I've always got like a notepad handy, and I've got my one with like my longer list. And what I'm learning to do now, and this is something that the team and I are working on, is having kind of things in order from a prioritization perspective. We know what's higher priority, what's lower priority, what's mid priority, especially within business, and also with myself with home now. I'm trying to get everybody doing stuff. Obviously my children are older, my daughter's 16 and my son is 10, so I'm making sure that chores get done, the washing, get my daughter cooked, my son, he washes up the dishes. Now there's certain things that I do believe, especially when it's just us in the household, if I run myself ragged in this household and do everything, then these children just become, one, lazy, and two, they'll be like, oh, all right, mum will do it. And I don't, that's not the culture in my household. Everybody's got to pull their weight. So that's what I'm learning. And I'm learning that, because even when I see like my daughter doing stuff, there's things that I'll get her to go out and do shopping. She's quite observant in the household, so she'll know when, oh mum, the soap powder's running low, or we need some washing up liquid. She'll always kind of do the reminders. But one thing I also am trying to give her in terms of responsibility, I'm trying to also make sure that it's balanced, so that it doesn't seem like, oh, because she's the girl, she's got the bulk of the responsibility, and the boy does less. So I'm trying to get him to,
that's really good.
Step up a bit. He separates his laundry now. He hoovers his bedroom. He actually does some washing up. So I'm trying. It's really hard to, I wouldn't say no if you're doing the right thing, but when you are creating that structure, order, and just, I don't want to call it a regime, but when you just want a system in place. And for me, systems that need to be in place often come with some life hacks and tips that we all need. A nice little regime that works very well. And even if you have to adapt it, you adapt it, but you somehow have a flow going. As well as, and then that way you don't feel like you're being pulled to the left and pulled to the right. And people have all these demands, because you've got to reply to emails, and then you've got your social media that needs to be managed, and then the inquiries that come through. So in terms of, I know that you also coach mothers. Tell me a bit about your coaching. I love the sound of that. Tell me about that.
Yes. So I recently launched my podcast coaching program for single mothers, because for me, when I began my podcast, it saved me. And so it was a place where I can speak openly and freely, and of course, with wisdom, but I was able to get so much out that had been in. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really freeing. And I really believe that transparency brings healing. And I was like, other mothers need to start this. And podcasting now is just becoming this big thing. Even Facebook has launched this podcasting program. And so it's like, listen, mamas, I can teach you how to start your podcast, and also how to build a business and monetize off of a podcast. Just people simply listening. And so I thought, well, why can't, if I did it and I was trying to find somebody to help me and I didn't, I'm going to be that solution for other single mothers to come to and to get the assistance that they need to start their own podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Check you out. So how long has it been going?
So I just launched, this is July, I just launched last month. So it hasn't been going that long, but I just launched. So I'm super excited about where it's going and how it's going to grow. But more importantly, I'm super excited about the impact that I'm going to make, because at the end of the day, that's where my really heart lies, is to make an impact and to help somebody else get their stories out there.
Absolutely. And if you know, nowadays, stories are so powerful. Us who are storytellers, because we use our story. I always tell people, you know, when you see me, you know, Americans have this saying, they're like, people see the glory, but they don't know the story.
Yeah.
You know, there's always a story behind everything that we've been through, but we've really used it to kind of, as our drive, you know, it catapults us. That's our springboard. That's what we use to leverage. That is, you know, when I think about, even in the midst of what I was going through, beginning of the year, meeting all these amazing people, including yourself on Clubhouse, to manage to have co-authored a book that was, I tell people, that was my release. Clarion, I'm still in the thick of it, and I'm super transparent in the book about, look, I've not come to the end of this situation. I'm still in the midst of it. But you know what? I needed to find an outlet. I needed to find something where, you know, you need to get that release. And do you know, I want to speak to you about us women of faith who are going through circumstances, and sometimes it can be a real isolating space, because for single moms, let's keep it real, for single moms in church, we're not really well represented, and we're not really well supported at times. So oftentimes we have to find outlets, you know, we have to find our support network, we have to find coping strategies, we've got to find other sisters or brothers that can help to nurture and build us up, or even just help us with our children. There's times when, I always say this on the show, that it's important for us as mothers to get our respite and have a break from our kids. That's okay too. You know,
that's very much so okay. And I think that that comes into play where that mom guilt would come in and think that you don't need rest. Who said that? Excuse me. You're raising a child or children on your own. What makes you think that you don't need rest? What makes you think that you are in this place by yourself? And that's something that I'm really big and huge on, because it's in that moment to where you can replenish. You can't give out something that you don't have. And so taking that time to rest and really be able to get back and do something for you allows you to hit the reset button and start over again, and to be able to give out and to pour out more, because something or someone has poured back into you. And so it's even something as simple as taking yourself out to eat, buying your favorite lunch, sitting in the bathtub or something like that. It can be very inexpensive, but that is a must. That is a must, or you're going to drive yourself literally, mentally, and emotionally. You're going to be sucked dry, and it's going to come out into and on your children.
I was just gonna say, it's so true you're saying that, because when you become that shouty mum, everything rattles you. Why is that not in place? Stop the shouting, stop the noise. When you're that mum, hello,
kids remember that too.
Take a bath.
And kids remember that. My mom was angry all the time, and my mom was this, and my mom was that. You know, it can be very, very and excuse me, but it can be very detrimental to your children and their growth, because they'll remember that.
They will. And they often, you know, what we've got to realize is that they're small for a very small window of time. I always say to people that we've got a little window with these children. They grow really quickly. And
I do.
I can test it. I mean, my daughter, the child I had the other day, she's 16.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get my head around. She's actually 17 in October, so she's actually more 17 than 16. And my son that I just had, he's 10. So
right,
it really makes you realize that, the investment that we need to put into our children, and that comes from also the nurture that we have to give ourselves. Even in this book project, I managed to really give myself some time to revisit my own childhood, revisit even my own parents' like divorce and how that kind of impacted me, even my adulthood, and how I've navigated relationships and the expectations that I had put on relationships. Equally, also the timelines that I was putting on myself, like by this age I need to be married, by this age, there was all these kind of, and do you know what? I suddenly realized that I think it was me, that because of societal perception, stigma, labels that come with being a single mom, I was trying to change that. I was trying to, become a missus, have a ring on my left hand, somebody's wife. And I speak about this just because I had to then go in and think, but who was putting that pressure on me, and what was making me uncomfortable? It just doesn't mean, it's been a long journey, of discovery, acceptance, and exploration, I will call it, because the more you explore, the more you discover, the more revelations come out about yourself. And even as I'm on this, I always tell people that, the best person that's going to know me is me. When it comes to self-development, when it comes to self-mastery, when it comes to me just being able to say, actually, Fiona, accept your flaws, accept your situation, as you rightly said, the temporary situation, right? That we all are in, and don't allow for that to be, your mantra. That doesn't have to be the end of your situation.
Absolutely, and I definitely agree with that 100%. One of the things that my saying is that, temporarily a single mom. And a couple years ago, after I had my daughter, I was like, man, God, like, why am I still single? I'm this great person. I have this going on, I have this going on. I know I'll make a great wife and things like that. And I could clearly hear the Holy Spirit say to me, you're single because you're still saying you're a single mom. Wow. And so there's a difference in that you're continuously speaking that over yourself.
Wow.
And it was then where it was like, boom.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm temporarily a single mom. This state is only temporary. I know that I'm going to be a wife. I know that I'm going to be married. I have no doubt about that in my mind. I haven't received no type of words that I'm going to be single. Every word I have gotten, I'm going to be married. And so that's no longer a concern to me anymore. And so it's gotten to a place where, you know what? I give it to you. I know I'm going to be married. I throw out and completely throw out my timeline, like how you said. I throw it out, but Jesus, don't let it be too long. But I throw it out. I just throw it completely out and just let you have your way. So, and it's a mindset that you really have to capture, because if you stay in that place and you continuously to think, man, this is going to be it for the rest of my life. Yeah, that's going to be it, because you're continuously speaking that. So you got to think differently.
You got to think differently. And like you said, it's a mindset. It's all about also who you're surrounding yourself with,
and you
investing in yourself, that kind of whole, because I was on a live last week, and one of the we were talking about, the whole dating as a single mom and all the stuff like that. And one of the questions I had to answer at the end was like, would you date you? Like, are you dateable? Are you somebody who, people want your company, they want your time? Are you moany? Are you complaining? Do you pick at things? There's certain things that, even when it comes to the whole preparation, and I think remember us modern day women, we are kind of like, the bar's set high. Exactly. The bar is real high. So it's really, really, really about us recognizing what we're prepared to compromise and tolerate, what we're prepared to accept, and what we're not, And I think the good thing about us women who have children already, especially you and I, we've got a boy and a girl, so we're like, okay, we're good,
Yeah.
So when somebody does come along and they are there to in my eyes, contribute or actually, bring something to this. Because I always tell people, I come as a package. However, navigating any form of relationship going forward, I wouldn't do it as I've done it in the past, because I think in the past what I was trying to do was navigate the relationship as us as a whole and build the unit and fit somebody into our life and live this whole kind of already set up life as a two-parent household, when in fact we were just in a relationship and there was no commitment. And because I've had to deal with the aftermath, the fallout, the kind of repair work that had needed to be done, not just for me, but also for the children. I definitely said to myself, this time round, because of the experience and the learning, I will change my approach. Not to say that I would totally not do like, us all going out together as a family, but the approach won't quite be as, we do all these things together. We travel together. Sundays you're at my mum's, I'm going to your pet. We're all intertwined with families and friends. And because you think about when you do stuff like that and you really interlock your life, it's time to, and you're the one that shows up and they're like, oh, where's so and so? What happened? Or where is it? Is he coming? And you're like, we're not together anymore.
And unfortunately, I experienced that with my daughter. Because I have two different fathers. My daughter has one father, my son has one. And so when I stopped and completely removed myself from my son's father, my daughter was still asking about him, even almost up to like a year later. And so it was then in that moment where I said, that's not going to happen again. And just like you said, it won't be like this whole big family unit in the beginning. It will be something that will be
gradual.
Subtle, and very slow, because especially my daughter, she's older, and even my son, he's getting older too. And so I really have to take that into consideration that, hey, we have to take this thing very, very slow. Like, yes, I know you heard God about me, I heard God about you, but we're really going to have to take this thing slow, because children are involved. Their hearts, their emotions are involved. So it's not just mine is invested, it's my children's that are invested as well. And I think that to take it all back, that's why it's important to really try to hear God as much as possible about who he's called you to be with. Because if you end up with someone who you're not called to be with, well, now everybody in this situation is hurt. You hurt, your kids hurt. Now you got to start all over and rebuild not only emotionally yourself, but now your children, when all of that really could have been avoided. And so that's really important and key for me, that next time, like you said, it's going to be very slow for me, and he just will have to understand. And if you can't understand, bye.
And also, we want to use our experiences as learning lessons. We can't keep making the same mistakes, ending up in the same situation, navigating relationships the same way. We've got to learn, because ultimately, in an ideal world, if things had worked out as, we would have liked them to, the father of the children, we would have set up home and done what we were supposed to have done, but the whole reality of actually, this is the circumstances. I always tell people that, I'm not a single mum by choice, but by circumstance, So these are the circumstances surrounding my situation. However, I'm not a victim by it, but I am going to take the learning from every experience, because life teaches us lessons and experience teaches us growth, And I think the more we kind of go through different experiences in our lives and we're able to, accept, I think one of the things that I always say to people, and this is what brings me so much peace, is that I've taken ownership and responsibility. I don't place the blame game on anybody.
Yep.
Yes, some people could act better than they do, but I just take it that actually they've just not arrived at that place as yet. But when they do arrive at the place where they're mature enough to, you know, articulate, communicate, and do what they're supposed to do, then they will. But for me, I can only be responsible for my actions, for the way I respond, to the way I react, and what I do with this thing called life that takes us through a journey. And life is a beautiful journey. Even sometimes when you look at the things that you've been through and you think, actually, I didn't deserve that. And, you know, this is really unfair, but what can I take from this? What's the learning out of this? What can I do with it? And this is why I really do encourage, especially women who, you know, we're left usually as the main caregivers that will be, you know, holding the children and stuff. It's like, look at your situation, as you rightly said, as temporal, but also look at these children as this is just a little window of time for you to invest and raise them. Who are you putting in their company? Who are they surrounded by? What environments? What are you exposing them to? What life lessons are they teaching? When they look at you, are they thinking, gosh, you know, that's my mom? Or they're thinking, oh, is my mom all right? You know, is mommy okay? Yeah, because there is times, and even it's okay for us to say, actually, no, mommy's not feeling okay today. We've got to, gone are the days, you know, olden days when things weren't great and everybody used to try to cover up because they didn't want to, you know, upset the children and they wanted to keep everything so peaceful. And then in adulthood, they realized that their whole life was a lie. We got to be so truthful, especially these generation children that
they're very smart.
They got technology. Google, if we don't tell them, Google will tell them.
Or YouTube.
Or YouTube. Exactly. So we've got to be open and honest. So
absolutely,
I'd like to hear a little bit about, you know, your kind of business journey in terms of. The reason why I'm going here is because I know that when it comes to us as women who have been through experiences, we have used our pain to help us to, you know, discover and develop our purpose. But out of that has now come like digital assets and like my online course and your podcast training now, and now my book. And we've also got a course coming off of the back of the book. For people who might be thinking, I would love to set up a business, but I don't know what it is, but I want to do something that helps to benefit others and use it in a way where you're sharing a story. Because like there's a saying that says there's a book in everyone. I've just taken the leap of faith to say I'm going to put mine out there, but everybody has a story, good, bad or ugly. We all have a story. So even if you wanted to say, right, I want to become an author, I want to become a writer, or I want to just kind of, there's another thing I've been doing of lately is I'm on a playwright course at the moment because I write scripts. And I've been developing. I'm really passionate about the arts. I'm passionate about people using a form of like therapy, but through the arts. So like drama therapy, where you're able to help yourself heal from whatever it is that you've been through. Because I know that there's many a way. Some people respond well to therapy. Some people will respond well to journaling and writing things down. You know, having somebody that they can have as a sounding board, and others. When you look at the arts and you can see how people, because I've been writing like short monologues and descriptions about different scenarios, but having it done in a way where people can sit back and be like, actually, that one is me. That's how I would respond in that situation. You see yourself really differently. So the reason I'm sharing this is because if lockdown has taught us anything, it's now is the time to get your stuff done and out there, because we're never going to have this type of time back again. And I always say that all the things that I had on like my to-do list of the things that I wanted to do, I've managed to somehow get them out, but in a way where it's like, this is always where it was supposed to go. So the reason I'm doing that is that I want other people who sometimes they probably look at you, because I get it all the time. They're like, Fiona, how do you do it? You know, you're just, you run your business. You've now launched a book. You've got a show. You're doing, and there's other things I don't even share. Sometimes people will know in time. But
yeah, absolutely.
Share with us how, and I say all of that big spiel to say, how would you share with somebody about saying, just take that leap of faith, just go for it, like put it out there. What's the worst that can happen?
Right. So if I was to come in contact with that person today, I would say, and I would just be completely blunt and completely real. Do you want to leave a legacy or not? Do you want to be on your deathbed, God forbid, and say, man, I should have done A, B, C, and D? Or do you want to, God forbid, be in your last days and say, I did everything I wanted to do, whether it failed or not? I did everything that I wanted to do. And so I don't think anybody wants to have that feeling, because even as a medical professional, I have been with patients that have said to me, I should have done this. I should have done that. It's too late, because these patients can be bedridden and they're really depressed. No one should be ever in that state in your last days. Even for me, I would have to go and get myself together, because I'm like, wow, this is really sad. It's really sad. And so I would openly and honestly ask them that. What can you do? Either you're just going to jump and just it fails, and you pick up the lessons from it and you just keep pushing. You keep pushing. And so one thing that I always have this picture in my mind where I'm just jumping from cliff to cliff. But each time they're getting higher. And so in my mind, I have this picture that keeps me going. What if I'm going to jump? And if I fall, I'm going to learn the lessons from it and I'm going to pick it up. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep jumping though. I'm not going to stop. And not only for me am I not going to stop for me, but I'm not going to stop for my children. I would not want my children to say, man, my mama was a failure. Man, my mama quit on this. I want my children to say, man, my mama did that. Man, my mama succeeded. My mama did this. My mama was a boss. My mama was this. And she was raising us. And she was a great mother. I want to be able for my children to say that. And I want to be able to leave a legacy. And you can't do that by not taking a step of faith or a leap of faith.
Absolutely. And that is so significant, that leap of faith, that even just having, cheerleaders. If you notice, we are around some phenomenal women that we've connected with online. We're able to, everybody's just in sync, where we are ethically aligned, our values, our morals, our standards, and the whole kind of way that we're supporting each other. I feel so, it's exhilarating. You're literally like, you know what? I've made some beautiful friends that I know they are going to be, you guys are staying in my life for life. You're in my life. And I just look forward to the day where we can actually just meet, where we can take some planes and we can meet and we'll be like, girl, I'm coming over. You'll be like, I'm coming over. Because you think about what technology has done for us in terms of connecting us and making, and ordinarily, let's think about it like this. If we didn't have these tools at our fingertips, that we were able to use technology, or we were planning this, we would spend a lot of time thinking, right, I need to hire a studio, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, and I need somebody that will do my lighting and my makeup and we're in the homes. Come on, look at what we've managed to achieve. This is really, and it's just the starting. And what you rightly just said is take the step. In life, when we think about before we began walking, when we as babies, we got up, we tumbled, we fell, we got up, we tumbled, we fell, but we kept getting up until we mastered walking, and I think if we really start to kind of go back to that stage of being a baby again. What did they do first? They creeped, they were crawling, and then when you got the strength, you stood up and then you began to take steps.
Yep.
We have to use that as an analogy in life in terms of what it is that we want to do. What do we want to achieve? Where are we going? Who is our tribe? Are you connecting with people outside of your circle, outside of your country? You don't have to limit yourself now. We have got the World Wide Web at our fingertips. Sometimes we'll just be scrolling and looking at other people's nonsense. Make contact.
Right. That's right.
See what they're up to. Connect with people. We can do it in such an easy way now that you look back and you think, this is amazing to think that this is like our second event that we've done together. I think we need to definitely jump over on the Instagram soon and do a live.
Absolutely. I'm down for it.
Yeah, and then I'll come on your podcast and we can do, we've got so much things that we can exchange and just help to build each other, share each other's assets. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping other women to get customers and get people to know about what it is that they're doing and purchase from them. I've got people around me who, when I've sent them the link for the book, they're like, right, I've sent it to a couple of my friends, they've just purchased it, let me know if you want me to do any other promotion. And they don't even know me, but they're really just passionate about what I'm doing. They believe in me and they just want to see me win. And that's what we need. I want to see you win, Clarion. I want to hear that your podcast course is doing amazing, and women who have the idea of a podcast are now engaging and enrolling in your course and learning how to do it, because you have the skills to take people to that level where they're like, right, you said something really profound. You said I had to teach myself. I was asking for help and nobody was there to help me. So I decided I don't want anybody to go through that. So I wanted to help another. How beautiful is that? That is amazing. People will be like, well, there was nobody to help me. But you have changed that. Wow. You need to celebrate yourself, because that is beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, because I think that I've never been that person to gain all of this knowledge and not help people. I actually think that that's very selfish and very prideful. And you and your business, if you're doing that in any of your businesses or in life, you will fail. Point blank, period, because that's selfish and it's very prideful of you. And so I never was that person, and I don't want to be that person moving forward. And so people DM me, they ask me all these questions that I will tell you. I will literally tell you, because it's like, well, I didn't have that. And so I had to learn on my own. And so why not allow you to skip over the whole process and just learn from my mistakes?
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Well done, you. So how can people access your course? How do they enroll on it?
Yeah, so you guys, I am on Instagram at Dear Single Momma Podcast. That's the way. You can DM me, or you can click the link in the bio to schedule a call. We'll get on a Zoom and just kind of talk through it with everything. And so that's how you all can enroll and access me.
Wonderful. So and it's live, so as soon as people can enroll, they book in a course, and then you'll just take them through the process. And then how long is the actual course last?
Yes, so the course is 4 weeks long. Throughout the course, you will learn how to, from the very beginning, even down to finding and knowing your target audience, because that's important. Your podcast is not for everybody, and it's very important to know that. So even down to that little step, we're there from there. So once you schedule a call with me, we'll hop on. I'll add you onto our live Facebook group, and there you will get all the trainings.
Excellent. So people can, what's the name of your Facebook group? Is it once people have enrolled, they'll join the group?
Yes. Once people are enrolled, then you'll get the link in your email for the Facebook group.
Fantastic. That is so good. And have you found, since you've been doing, because it's still a month old, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you found that people have just really said, right, I really want this? How have you been promoting it? Have you been is it word of mouth? Is it, how have you been doing a promo?
So mostly social media. That is how I'm promoting it. I would say mostly by social media. Maybe a few people I've told about it by mouth, but mainly social media. And so And actually, yeah, a lot of people have said like, man, this is not something that I would have ever thought that I needed. But I've realized that when you said this and this, and even from the webinar, they really realize how helpful it is to be on that process and to have somebody walking with you through that process, and even for accountability, because we can have all of these thoughts in our mind and then don't do anything with them. They'll just stay on paper. And so I am that accountability that be like, nope, you're going to do this week. Nope, you're going to do this. Nope, you're going to do that. Of course, in wisdom. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so glad that it's out, because one of the things that I remember when we were talking about it, and I saw how you were just getting yourself ready. And now that it's come out, you must feel like such a sense of achievement as well. And, one of the things I want to even share with the listeners, there's, you've got 2 young children, a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and you're still just kind of putting yourself out there when it comes to developing yourself and also your business, and you found a niche. And this is one of the things that I always encourage people to do, is find your niche, find kind of like what your own little USP is and what your little thing is. Look at where the gaps in the market are, listen to what people are asking questions about or inquiring about, and seeing how you can then kind of create something, because that's where the detail is, and then you can test it to say, okay, would people buy this? And look what you're managed to do. That is so good. I'll definitely be in contact with you about how to, access the course and what we can do with it, because there are some audio things that I'm doing right now with my book and some information that I'm going to be putting out there. So I'll definitely connect with you on that, because it sounds great. And being able to be specific with, like you said, your target audience and all of that, and just putting yourself out there, because like we said, we got social media to our fingertips now.
Yes. And it's been so beautiful. Yeah.
It has. So we're going to be rounding up today. I've had an amazing guest, Clarion Brown. It's been good.
So much fun.
No, it's so good. I mean, she's doing some amazing things. So please just, check her out. Go follow her on Instagram, like go in her link tree and connect with her to find out about her course or anything that you've heard today and you'd like some more information. Send her a DM and just get connected. I'm telling you, Clarion, this is just the beginning for you. I'm so excited for what's going to happen. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I can just feel the energy. You're doing an amazing job. So keep going. Big love to the babies. And I look forward to being alive with you soon. So I'm going to sign off. Until next time, we'll be back with another guest on the Mums edition of the Fiona Small Show.